Hey guys, it's Sharon with Little Britain Company, and today is part 2 of the building an album. And we're working on. My plan for this one is going to be bees, but really, what I'm doing you can do with anything. In the last installment, we made this really cool 6x6 base. This is just kind of the book base. This is the outer that's going to hold everything together. I'm put that aside. So what I want to do, well, put it aside. What I'm going to do now is I make the gusset next. This is just my process. Everybody does it differently. So I'm going to make the gusset next. Then I'm going to attach the two pieces here, and I use those to actually sort of anchor my gusset in place. And okay, so let's get going. I'm using my brand new paper cutter, which I'm really excited. So you are going to be with me on this inaugural run of my paper cutter to see how well it works. I've already set it up to 5 3/4, which is what I need this to be. So this is going to be 5 3/4. It's not going to go all the way up to the 6. I got to think about that for a second. No, I need my pages to be 5 1/2. So this has to be 5 1/2. I had to think about it for a minute. So this has to be 5 1/2. So I've got this in the wrong place. So I'm just going to move it up to my 5 1/2. Okay. This one is super cool because no matter where you are in the world, it's got your centimeters, it's got your inches, you've got your A5, B6. These A5 and B6. If you're not from a different country, you may not realize that that's how they measure paper. We often say letter or legal or whatever. They are, other countries are using these measurements, A4, B5, A5, and so on, as their measurements. So, okay, so up goes my wonderful handle. So this abuts directly to this. So it doesn't go underneath it. So if I wanted to cut the same thing over and over and over again, I could, and oh my word, that's pretty. I love it. So 5 1/2 means I'm going to have 2 pieces of 5 1/2. I'm going to put one aside because I can use that for something later. So then my gusset is going to be, I'm going to put this down. Always put it in the down position. So for my gusset, I am going to leave 1 1/2 on either side. I'm going to have 3 signatures. So I need each one of those to be, I think I'm going to do it this way. Before I cut, instead of cutting it down, I'm going to go ahead and score it. And then I can just cut off what I don't need. I think that's going to be the smartest route for me to go. So let me move this out of the way, because that's the first time I've had that one. Normally I cut it. And generally I do fine, but every once in a while you're just like, oh wait, is this where I want to be? So if I do it this way first, I think I'm going to be in pretty good shape. So what I want to do is I want to have 1 1/2. This is going to be part of the anchor that goes into the book. So I'm going to score it 1 1/2. And then I'm going to start scoring at 1/2 inch. I have to think. Okay, this is going to be my first gusset because this is 2 inches. With the paper on it, it's just over 2 inches. So I'm going to want to make my first gusset at the 1 1/2 mark. See, I had to think through that one. And then I'm just doing 1/2 inches. This is my gusset. This is going to be straight down. So this is not. For my peace of mind. Okay, so this is gusset. This is gusset. This is flat. So, and also really, hold it in place because paper moves. So this is gusset 4. We're going to have 3. So then I have 1, 2. These are both going to be part of the gusset. And then this one's going to be flat. Okay, and then I have gusset. And I have gusset. I'm going to come down on that one. just so it comes to the end. It'll help my folding. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this one at 1.5 inches. So I'm going to cut it at that mark. Yay, there we go. Okay. I'm glad I did it that way because it just, so the gussets, so you can see kind of what I did. 1.5 inches, gusset, space, gusset, space, gusset, and then we're going to cut this down to 1.5 inches. And what that simply allows me is peace of mind that I don't cut the wrong thing, or I don't end it where I'm not supposed to. I will say I have seen, you know, lots of people who have made plenty of albums over the years, and I think many of us still, every once in a while, we will struggle with the gussets. So since I made a tiny mark there, I don't need my big guillotine. I'm just going to use my small one. I'll put this aside. It doesn't matter that I put marks on these. You're not going to see the gussets. Not really. Maybe I'll erase them. I'll erase them when I'm done. You won't see them, but I'll show you what I'll show you. All right, so I'm going to do it this way. So no, I have to do it this way. There, that's okay. I've got it. All right, so gusset number 1. Really, these are so, it's not hard, but it is, it really forces your brain to do things in a way. Here, I'm going to move up a little bit so you can see better what I'm doing. There we go. So there's my second gusset, and then this one goes like that. Okay. All right, so I've got my 3 gussets. I'm going to grab my book so you can see where those are going to fit. I'm going to put them pretty much right smack dab in the middle. And I'll measure that out a little bit better so you can see what I mean. Oh yeah, that works fine. So you can see, well, here you go. You might be able to see. I'm going to get you close. All right, up close and personal. When the gussets are together, there is a 1/2 inch here and here, and that's what I want because these pages get very, very full. And there's going to be more on this side, and there's going to be more on the other side to help fill it up. More different things that happen with the actual pages. So this is about where I like it to be. I don't want it too close to one edge or the other just because it's just going to crowd things. Let me pull it back out again. Boop, too far. Okay, so also you can see I went well into my other sides. That's because when I add a piece of paper here and here, it'll come over the top of my gusset, and I can't speak, guys. It will be an additional support for the gusset. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. Let me move that out of the way. I'm going to try to work from this angle so you can really see what I'm doing. All right, now I'm just going to turn it over. I know where my gussets are. I'm going to grab some of my score tape. I'm going to grab some of the new stuff. Just got this one. This is not actually score tape, but this one gives me a lot of options. Interesting. My word. Okay. Yep. There we go. Okay. Oh, start pulling it off. I really don't want that to unravel too much. Gracious. There we go. Let's just cut that off. Okay, so this one gives me all of these wonderful options. But what I really want is this one, I think. So this is the 1/2 inch. I'm pretty sure that's the 1/2 inch. Maybe this one's a 1/2 inch. This one is a 3/8 of an inch. This one is my 1/2 inch. And then this one is, good golly. This one is 3/8 of an inch. These gussets are a 1/2 an inch. But, well, let's see. They should be. I'll just go ahead and use my 1/2 inch. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. So let's pull this up. Let me get out my little piece here. So I've already got these. Now, a lot of people will put their tape on before they score. But I confuse myself too much to do it that way. All right, so I'm just going to try to get it, you know, right on the inside. I'm sorry if this is a little bit difficult to see. I'm getting it kind of right between the raised pieces here. I'm only going to do one on each of these. Oh, how'd that get stuff in it? Good gracious. Oh, it's probably, I just did a haul on my table and there was fabric, and fabric has a tendency to shed. But you do not want anything like that inside your gussets. Any foreign debris can really loosen them. Okay. There we go. Okay, and finally, my last but not least, okay, then a little burnishing. As I've said before, what the burnishing does is it really helps your fibers bond with the paper. Now, I use this guy that I actually got at Dollar Tree. So here's how I do it. Everybody has their own way. This is my way. I add glue. Oh, I didn't really want glue there yet. Okay, so I add glue. And then I attach. I burnish. And I'm going to move on to the next one. Don't forget to keep your glue capped every time you go in between it. I have seen people leave their glue open while they're working, and I don't, mine just dry. I don't know what they're using. I mean, I use art glitter glue, and they may be using something different. I mean, there's Bear and there's other ones. Maybe they don't dry up as quickly, but my art glitter glue seems to, or maybe it's just me, my art glitter glue seems to dry up pretty stinking fast. So if I don't cap it, I'm going to have to be poking a hole in it. All right, and then my next one, there we go. Bring it around this side. Okay. There we go. And then, last but not least, and you can see, you know, I'm pushing it down flat, and that's okay. It's not going to hurt it. Once your pages are on there, you're going to be golden. So let me do my glue again. So this is a full walkthrough. If you've never done a album, I do have other albums and other walkthroughs. So I didn't want to do it that way. Let me do it this way. That's better. Okay, so here we go. have my cute little gusset ready to go. Pretty even, so we've got a 1/2 inch in between each of those. Now, normally I might just leave my little X's, but I'm going to erase my X's right now because I have a plan. I always have a plan. Is it a cutting plan? I don't know. All right, so actually the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add tape to either side of these gussets. And I'll show you why. It might seem a little confusing. And I'm moving down in my size of tape. I want my 1/4 inch. Is this my 1/4 inch? How to eyeball these things. I think this is about my 1/4 inch. Yeah. All right, that seems weird. The reason I want my 1/4 inch is because when I put my pages on, I'm not going to slide them all the way to the bottom of the page because I want them to be able to move more freely. So I'm not using the full 1/2 inch, but I do want to get this to this top. Okay. And I'm going to do that on both sides. I know it's hard to see. Let me see if there's something. What do I have sitting here that I can put underneath there? There. It's Sophia, man. That poor puppy. She had to go to the vet last week. And he said, oh my word, there was a ton of gunk in her ears. So you can see now I've got those two, and I'm just going to keep doing that. I might just keep talking. I might try to speed this up. Actually, that helps me too. I just realized that's actually quite helpful when I can have something underneath it. When you do these, it's always, whatever the color is, it's that color on that color. Even if I do one in red, I'm going to be doing red on red. And that's just going to make it hard to see. So, or at least some, I don't know, for some reason when I go in this direction, maybe it's the shadowing. It doesn't bother me as much. What is that? I just picked it up. Oh. All right. So, if you've never done one of these before, just give yourself time and honestly give yourself grace. If it's not perfect, honestly, most of the time, nobody's going to know. And we all make mistakes. Oh my goodness. Everyone does. And I've certainly seen some of the, the top people in album making. They'll make a mistake and they'll tell you, oh, I made that mistake and here's how I fixed it, because, that's what we do. Make a mistake and you fix it. Okay. This, by the way, we were at the museum shop, North Carolina Museums, and I picked up these really cool, I picked up these really cool greeting cards because I thought I would really like to turn, or not greeting cards, postcards. I would really like to turn these into a couple of notepads. I haven't had a chance to do that one yet. Okay. So burnish, 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 burnish. Just making sure it's now very, very slick. Okay. So I've got those in, and my last step before I go ahead and put this into my album is I'm going to go ahead and get it prepped for the pages. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to cut it to that 1/4 inch. You can kind of see where that is. That's going to give me, I can pull it in a little bit more so you can see better. It's sticking to, these are my Teflon blades. And if you have a chance to buy, I do not remember if anyone knows the brand. If anyone has seen these before, I bought these many years ago. It says stainless steel. They're coated with some kind of a Teflon, and they are my favorite scissors. And they're almost serrated. I've been scrapbooking for, golly, Little Brit's big brother was probably 8. So I would say about 24 years I've been doing scrapbook of some kind. So, okay. That one was a little, it doesn't really matter that one was a little bit long. When I put my pages on, they're going to slide on really well and go just a wee bit lower. And I'm going to leave at least 1/8 of an inch at the bottom. So you know me, I'm going to be adding a little glue when I do that. To add to the solidity of the book. And I keep saying that, and I keep telling you guys, one of the first books I did, I honestly love it. I think that, I think it turned out beautifully, but the hinge I had so many problems with my hinge after it was done. I was able to repair it. I was able to do some things to it. Oh, that was way too far. But it, if you don't have to work on, reparations. If you don't have to work on repairing, if you can go straight to, we're good, that's best, right? Okay, I'm going to try to get this. If I know that this first one is 1/2 inch in, then I know the second one is 1/2 inch in. So, somebody's mowing. I don't know. Can you hear the mower? You might be able to. I've heard other people say, oh, I'm so sorry for the mowing. And I'm like, I didn't hear anything. So, all right. So just a word of caution. Attach your tape to this, not this. This is shorter. Shorter. This one's longer. And if you attach it to this and you go from end to end, you're going to have debris and you're not going to like it. You're not going to be a happy camper. So I'm going to attach my adhesives to the back of this. And then we'll burnish them into the other one. Let's see. I hope you can see this well enough. So I'm getting pretty close to the end here. If I go over, I want to be cautious. If I go over the end with the glue, it's easy enough to clean up. If I go over the end with the tape, it is really not so easy to clean up. So, a word of caution with the tape. You want to go as close to that, edge, but you really do not want to go over the edge, because the tape turns dark and it gets, it remains a little bit sticky and it can just cause you problems. So, word of caution. All right, so I'm not done with my tape. Now that I've got those two, so I know that my edges are going to hold, I'm going to go ahead and go across here. I'll work from the bottom. It's easier for me to work from the bottom. Everybody has their thing. I'm going to move this out of the way. It's just in the way. There we go. So again, it's been raining so much here in North Carolina. The gentleman who does our lawns has had to come extra already, because that rain, that's not him out there right now. He is such a sweet guy. He does a few of the different lawns in the neighborhood. So he's pretty great. His grandson came with him once, but I guess he was not as interested in doing the lawns, which was okay. It is, I don't know if you guys have ever watched some of the lawn mowing videos where they'll find like horrifically overgrown areas and they'll mow them down. And as much as I appreciate sort of the look, especially, you know, in front of a house, I know that it helps. I also know that all that flora and fauna is actually good. It may not look great, or people may not like the look of it in a neighborhood, but it sure is good for a neighborhood, you know. Sure is good for the environment in that respect. As long as it's cleaned up. I think people would prefer it to be more controlled chaos than just chaos. That's probably the key right there, I think. Okay. So we're doing okay. We're starting to get this down. I think you know what's going to follow with me. It is, for me, it is not rocket science. I know my plan. I'm going to, because I really do want this to be at 1/2 inch. I know where things are. So this is just going to help me so I can see my 1/2 inch, and that's where I want my first gusset to sit. So move that up a little bit so I can still work on this stuff. Now, I will say, generally, I eyeball this, but I am doing it this way. Because if this was the first time, or even the first, 10 times I had done it, and sometimes when I'm not feeling like all there, this is how I would do it. This is how I did it. Just to get it down right. Because I certainly started off trying to eyeball it. And as I said, I've been scrapbooking for many, many years. I used to run a scrapbooking class many years ago. But when I was still scrapbooking, just my albums, my photo albums. But I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry, I hope that wasn't too loud. But I don't know. Okay, so I do want my glue. I do want to make sure that all of my edges are taken care of. So I'm going to, I don't want to really go over. I'm going to just come down and around. The glue will spread enough. And especially on these edges, no one's going to see those. The top and bottom people might see, but the other edges, you're going to be covering that up. All right, so I got plenty of glue and plenty of stuff like that over there. Okay, I'm going to, see, I moved it. You can see that I'm aligning it with approximately the middle of that one. So I can put, and remember, it's not going to go all the way up. It's going to go, you still got some space in between here. One of the nice things, another bonus, by the way, another bonus of having the glue on there is that it does give you just a wee bit of maneuverability. So now we burnish. So we really want to make sure. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to clean up the glue. I'm not too worried about that one. I want to make sure I don't have anything coming out of here. I actually do have something coming out of there. I have got a wee bit of adhesive, so I'm going to grab my good scissors. I'm going to grab my good scissors, and I'm just going to try to cut the icklest bit off. I may not be able to do that on camera because it's got to be super close to me. Because I only want to lose the adhesive. Come on. There. It's like shaving a teeny tiny piece off. And there is the rub. So I got rid of it. I don't have that adhesive there anymore, and it did not affect my book. Thank goodness. So, okay, so we're looking pretty good on this. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to move these down. I'm not taking any of this other tape off yet. I'm not ready for that. So I'm getting close to the point where I can do my pages. This is my next thing, okay? So you can see this. I'm just going to use this, and I'm going to go ahead and make my indentation there. Before I try to move my book. And I'm going to go slow. I am going to go super slow. Just a wee bit at a time. Oh, now I'm too close to you. Okay. So we're just really gently. I'm going to really gently move it that way. And really gently move it this way. There we go. And then I'm just going to just kind of rub. I'm rubbing these edges. I don't want my paper to crack. There are ways to fix it, but it's a pain. It is a pain. So there we go. We have got, I'm going to move it down a little bit. Move this down a little bit. Again. There we go. Okay. We got it. Now there's a different kind of a spine that you can do that does alleviate a lot of that, and maybe I'll do one of those next on my next album. If I do it differently, I'll do another tutorial on that one. That's where you can lay it flat, and it's really much it has a lot of smoothness to it. But this is the one that I started doing a long time ago, so this is the one I still do. Okay, so now I have one more piece to do for this part of the tutorial. This can go a lot faster, but here we go. Okay, so my next step here is going to be to cut 2 more pieces. One's going to be 5.5, but let me take a look and see what I want the other one to be. So I know that from here to here, it's going to be 5.5. So it measures straight into that. So I don't leave myself, all right, let's get super close so you can see. See how you can see this? I don't want to see that break. So when I put other decorative paper over the top of it, I'll be covering that up. So I won't see the difference between here and here. But from, ready, back out again. But from here to here, I think it's going to be longer. So I think from there to there, I'm going to want it to be maybe, oh, look at all this trash. Let me move my trash out of the way. Really, if you're smart, you're doing that as you go. I've got a little trash bag here. Yeah, I'm going to do 5 and... how much is that one? That's about 1/8. I don't think I'll go out that far. I'm going to do 5 3/4. So I'm going to do 5.5 by 5 3/4 just to go all the way over on this one. All right, let me move that one out of the way. And I'm going to grab a fresh sheet of paper. Oh, if I can get it. Here we go. I said this in the last video. When you start, whatever your base is going to be, because you're going to use this paper for your base, you're going to use it for your pages, you're going to be using it for different pieces inside, make sure you have enough of it. So when I'm starting this, I know I need at least 10 sheets of, if I'm using 8.5 by 11. If I'm using 12 by 12, I still want 10 sheets. I still want to make sure I've got enough. Okay, so this is going to be 5.5, which I already have my 5.5 lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down. Let's see. I need it to be 5.5 by 5 3/8. So I'm just going to go ahead and do 5.5. And these should be pretty perfect. By 5 and 5 3/4, not 3/8, 5 3/4. Making sure I know where my 3/4 mark is. Should be right there. Okay, by 5 3/4. I'm actually cutting 2 at a time. Let's see how this works. I do love how... All right, move those out of the way. Easy peasy. Okay. Yep. So what we're going to be doing is just attaching these to either side. They're going to go ahead and cover up the whole inside of the book. And then once the book is covered, we'll be ready to start making pages, which will be the next tutorial. So let's go ahead and get this one done. Now, I will say, I actually don't worry about doing tape on these. I'm just going to glue these. So some things, you know, you start entering into that section where you don't have to worry about the tape as much. But you do have to make sure that you get to the corners and that you get to the edges. Edges are key. You don't want an edge coming up, right? And again, I'm not using much glue here. I'm really just scraping. Making sure. Okay. Which side's which? That's the right side because it lines up with that. Okay. And then I've got my bone tool here. And I'm actually just kind of rubbing it. I don't want to make marks on the paper as little as I can, so I'm just rubbing it. And at this point, I can make any side, front or back. That's, you know, there's nothing about this right now that says I can't. I have not delineated a side. I will say too, using the guillotine, I am really able to make some good cuts without some of the raised. When I use my other paper cutter, it kind of slices it in a different way. I was getting some kind of raised edges, almost like I was scoring it. So I don't want raised edges. I think this is this way. Yep. Let me try to get that one where it belongs. So notice too, I'm pushing out. That's to help the glue go all the way to the ends. I'm really making sure that we're getting that nice and set. And there we go. So now we have a book. We have the set sections for our pages to go on. It's looking pretty. So the one thing that I will say is, and I was looking for a ribbon to use to be my holder, and I love this one, especially for this bee album, but I think it's too big. So I'm going to keep looking for a ribbon that will work well, and I need to make sure that I put that on before I go too much further, or I will forget. Because if I don't put it on early on, I forget. So I'm just saying that, I'm putting that out there. I'm going to be looking for a ribbon. So with the next one, we'll put the ribbon on, we'll make the pages, and we'll go ahead and attach the pages. Well, maybe, we'll see. And we'll start making plans for what's next for decorating. So hope you enjoyed it, and hope you come back for the rest of them. I will see you guys later. Cheers.